All right. We are live right now. Live right now from Hamburg. All right, we're back. Back with the regular setup. In the last couple weeks, I was in Tenerife doing my coaching there, which was great. We had a really good, really solid week coaching and wind. I'm going to tell everyone that I'm online at the moment. Online right now. Cool. Yeah, I'm super happy to be back online with all my tools, the mic and the light and all that stuff. Richie, Thomas, Mark, everyone's here. Mark, I've got something for you. Where do I have it? Somewhere in here I have a carving 360 video that I was looking at right before. Nope, that's the wrong folder. I just opened. Oh yes, sorry, I'm on the wrong hard drive. Anyway, how's everyone doing? Did you have a windy week? What have you been up to? All right, here's the video. Let me make this a little smaller. Pull up the chat again. I lost the chat when I opened this. Yeah, have you been sailing? Whoa, there's the chat. Everyone's here. Caro. Yeah, Richie, you sailed today in Vargas. How was it? John, Axel, York, Pier Francesco, Rich, Thomas, Greg. Pier Francesco, actually, I'm in Hamburg now. So we changed the plan with Portugal. I would have loved to go to Portugal, and that was the original plan. But I changed the scope or canceled the scope of the coaching a few weeks ago, or actually more like shortly after it was announced, because then the COVID numbers there were going up, which made it more difficult. And then I was just going to go anyway, just to go with the family and windsurf and stuff. But the COVID numbers have been constantly rising, and that made my wife uncomfortable. And I really don't want to risk not being able to go to Denmark in September. So I'm doing the coaching. I've got my Masterclass September 4th to the 10th, I think are the dates. And so if something happens in Portugal and I have to quarantine, that would just be a nightmare. I really don't want to miss that week of coaching. So I'm in Hamburg, taking it easy, staying away from people, making sure I don't have to quarantine. I'm fully vaccinated, but Portugal numbers are going up. And yeah, I just want to make sure that I'm safe and fit and healthy and able to do my best in Portugal. And hey, Thomas, Rich, Greg, Max, Mario. Cool, Mario and Greg met up. That's cool. Cool. Tomorrow's a good forecast, John. Nice to hear that. Hi, Mika. Cool. We got a good group today. I'm not sure what topics are posted in the group, but like always, we can go over whatever you guys want to go over. So if you want to ask some questions, we can talk about whatever. Here's a carving 360. So Mark had asked a question about carving 360s. This one's different because it's on a wave, right? So it's not on flat water, and I really stall out the middle section because I've got the energy of the wave to help glide a little bit longer. But you can see, here's an example of the end where I'm really pushing that sail. So I start driving the board up, and then I'm really pushing that sail forward and really pushing hard on that front leg to drive the board to go back out again. Mario sailing every day this past week. That sounds good. What are the conditions like? That sounds great. Sailing every day. Really, really great. And Greg too, I guess you've been having a lot of conditions then. Yeah, I can show you guys some of the video from from Tenerife from the coaching. So we did the masterclass there, ended 2 weekends ago. And yeah, we had some great sailing. What are some highlights? Fritz had a highlight from, what was it, day 5, I think. Float and ride conditions, that sounds good. Richie Vargas was nice, 4-0, small fun waves, went back to throw a couple of fours again. Mast touched the water, but happy about it. First time I sent it on the first day of vacation. Nice. It's always good, I think, to start strong. It's this balance, right? Where you want to be comfortable and you don't want to push yourself too much. But if you start strong, then it gives you a lot of confidence for your trip. It's the same is true of a competition heat. Yeah. Tomas also had some good freestyle sessions. Oh, let me, I hate this with the sound. I'm gonna open this up. So here's a, how do I check? Oh, you can hear me cheering. This is me cheering. So Fritz, who's sometimes on the live stream, and he was on our coaching in Denmark, and we were working on a couple things. We were working on high fives, timing, board placement, getting that projection, really getting the high five where you place the bottom of the board against the power of the wave, and timing it so that you capture that explosion of force, that energy that's coming out from the wave. And this is a really great hit. I'm really proud of this one from Fritz. Yeah, I'll play this again once more. So this was on the second to last day from the clinic. I was really stoked to see this hit. Let me find some other things. Pier Francesco Capomano is good. I would love to come. Yeah, maybe. What are the days that it's good? I have to check. One of the days it's good. Tom had 2 good Visson sessions. Yeah, I heard it was really good last weekend. Caro, how was Denmark? How was Denmark this weekend? I couldn't go up. My wife's grandmother had her 90th birthday, and I've missed every other event from the last couple of years, and so I just couldn't miss this one. Caro, speaking of Caro, had a really great, so we were working on the 360s and the goose screws, and I really like this attempt. So there's a lot of progress here. So we can watch the whole thing coming up. And what I love is she's really calm, smooth, flowing. There's a lot of projection happening. You can see she's coming in with bent knees. She straightens them, but keeps her weight over the board rather than leaning back too much. Keeps the clue extended the whole time, and really lets the rotation just happen rather than trying to force it. I really like this. This is such good progress from Caro. I love to see this. She keeps her speed, comes around, boom. Really nice. Tomas, I'm planning to go back to Maui in early October, but it's not really clear. I'd love to do a Lista trip. Those of you who don't know, Lista's the spot in Norway. We've seen some videos from there, from you guys, and yeah, Bjorn posted some, and it's somewhere I want to really check out. So my window is basically between now and early October when I go back to Maui. Hey Mark, how are you doing? You've been getting on the water? All right, Pier Francesco, send me a message. Send me a private message with some details, some forecasts, and see how it is. I'd really love to go. Caro, that sounds cool. Yeah, Stina, the photos that Stina posted were really cool. There's a lot of interest for doing a second masterclass in Denmark. So The one that I'm doing from September 3rd to the 10th or 4th to the 10th is fully booked. There's a lot of interest to do a second one. Now that the World Cup in Silts is canceled, I have a little bit more time. If that's something you're interested in, write me individually. The timing for that would be sometime in the last 2 weeks of September, because I have the surf festival in Fairmont that I have to go to. So we have to see. I know some of you have already written me individually, and I'm gonna reach out in the next day or two, looking at some options that we could do a second masterclass in Klitmuller at the end of September. So if you're interested, write me. Pier Francesco, Maui is kind of open. You have to go through somewhere else. So you can't come from Europe to the United States. So I know some people that were spending 2 weeks in the Caribbean or Mexico beforehand. I think it will open up soon though. I think it will open up soon. Mika, I've got some techniques for learning the front loop. We did a whole course on learning the front loop. Some of the guys in the chat, the men and women in the chat were on the course. I see Greg, and I think I saw Max here, and York. So we've got some of the Learn to Loop Pact members in the chat. I'll release some more information about my forward loop methods. I want to make some small changes to the course after going through it the first time. I think it was an amazing experience for me doing a course like this. It was virtual, but both synchronous and asynchronous. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. I learned a lot. I'm going to make some small changes. And the first course isn't even done yet. We've got to do I originally had it for 6 weeks, which I think was too short. So now it's a little bit open-ended. I've yet to put an end date, but there will be an end date, and we're going to have a graduation. I think having the end date is important to push that final push over the edge. But we had some forwards. Let's so for example, from Tim was on the Learn to Loop course, and then he came to Tenerife to work on the final loops, and you know he'd done all the training up until this point, and so he was really confident with the rotation. He'd gotten over the fear, and then it was just down to doing the final rotations, and he actually did one. So we've got a few examples of the crashes here. Tim, I hope you don't mind if I share some. Some of them are pretty hard crashes. So this is sort of the last step after he did so much good prep work that he knew the rotation, he knew the motions, and it was just a matter of getting it. Oh yeah, this is a sequence. Let me see if I've got more video. Tim had some great crashes that were pretty epic. But you can see that he's really committed. He's looking back. He's got the wide grip. He's pulling in. He's just not getting off the water here. But he did rotate one. So here's the sequence. We don't have the video, but we've got the photo sequence. I saw it. I was on the beach. So it's a little bit hard to tell here with the photos, but you can see he's in the straps. He's getting around, lands on his back. See, he lands on the back and then pushes the sail up and water starts out. So great job, Tim. That was, closing that course off in Tenerife for him. So Mika, look out for some of my forward loop material. I'll post it in the group sometime soonish. Meanwhile, speaking of the group, we've got a competition going on. So how do you play? Well, I posted this picture. You have to guess what move I'm attempting here and whether I landed it or not. Of the correct answers, or anyone that answers correctly, gets thrown into a random draw, which I'll do on the stream next weekend. So I'll do the selection just live on the stream. Pretty much the group of people goes in, everyone gets a number, and we do a random number generator, and someone wins, and they win a duffel bag, an Ezzy sales duffel bag, like what we used as a prize before. And I love, we see a lot of good answers in here. I like them. There's some creative ones, some obvious ones. I think I like this format too. So now I've got to look through my old pictures and find some interesting pictures to post in the group. And yeah, this was just from Tenerife from a couple weeks ago. Anyway, so that competition is happening right now. I can show you the prize. So the prize is the same as the last time. So it's going to be a bag like this, except you have two options. So I have a fully black bag like this, or I have one that's orange, and you can choose if you win. And I plan to do more giveaways like this. I like these little competitions. They're pretty fun. So if you haven't already, put your guess in the comments, and please only comment once. Tomas, I cannot give away any information if there are right answers given or not. And we're gonna do this again. This is just the first time. So I just thought it was a funny picture, which inspired it. All right, let's get into the coaching. So I'm not sure if there were many questions asked this week. I'm gonna go through and see if there were, but you guys feel free to interrupt me with whatever questions you want to ask yourselves. Pier Francesco asked about the Bobby Nash movie. You know, I haven't seen it. Friends of mine have, and they enjoyed it. I will take the time to watch it. I just haven't had the time yet. Sit down. It's just been non-stop since Tenerife for me. I was in Berlin doing a bunch of stuff, got back to Hamburg, so I haven't really had time. Yeah, Mika, I'm planning to go to Fehmarn for the surf festival, whenever that is. I think it's mid-September. So Steen asked about Croatia. So I texted with a friend of mine who has experience sailing in Croatia, actually Manuel, that some of you might know. And he says, I can't see any wind. It needs southeast wind to get waves. So from my source, he doesn't see conditions coming, but I am not an expert. So if you have different information, Steen, I'd love to hear it and see it. Philip asked about boom repair. Basically, you want to use contact cement to repair your boom. Contact cement, I don't know what that's called in other languages. It's kind of a very thick liquidy glue that normally you get in a can, and you apply it to both sides, let it dry. So you let it dry, and so it's a little bit tacky, a little bit sticky to the touch, but more or less you let it dry, and then you press the two sides together, and then ideally keep pressure on them for some time, and that will glue on the boom grip. It's also how to glue on foot pads on your board. Lots of good answers here. Also about how to take the grip off a boom. Most of these answers involve chemicals. I'm curious if heat is enough. Heat breaks down most of the adhesives that are used in those accessory products. Like, for example, if you need to take the clips off the back of your boom, normally they're glued on, and if you just pour some boiling water in them, then they come right off. So I wonder if heat is enough. I'm not sure. All right, we've got some back loops from Samuli, who's going to be joining us in Denmark, which I'm very looking forward to. So this is a two-part question. I like the question. So we've got the back loops. And this is an old video, and he's landed one since then. And he also asks about mantras, and so he's got a few. Marsilio Brown, hands down, which I really like. What is that just mean for the front loop, that you're really pulling your hands down? Or what does that mean? Similarly, I like it. I want to hear more. And then twist back as well for the forward loop, which I think also really helps. That idea of the forward loop as a twist rather than a somersault is huge. I like different mantras as well. I was saying in Tenerife, get low before you go a lot, which I think really helps, especially when it's side on. When it's down the line, side off, you can get low as you're going into your bottom turn, but when it's side on, you want to get low before you go into the bottom turn, and that just gives you so much more speed and control and power, all of the above. So get low before you go. Humble and flow is a mantra I used to tell myself for riding waves. Humble and flow, humble and flow. So not projecting what I want to do onto the wave, trying to read what the wave is going to do, and just flow with it. Humble and flow. I'd love to hear if you guys have mantras that you say to yourself. What are they, and in what circumstances are you telling them to yourself? Cool, thanks for the info, Greg. All right, Samila, you need to explain that. So you say that's the MB and double in Pozo. He stands tall above the board. You mean that, is that Marsilio Brown, MB? Explain that a little bit. I like these and I want to hear more. All right, and then while you're explaining, and while anyone else is thinking about their mantras, I want to go through this back loop. If you don't go, you won't know. Yeah, cool. All right, let's go through this back loop. So there are a couple things I want to go through here. This angle, we don't see everything, but what it looks like from your wake, that you're going a little bit upwind, but you want to go much more upwind than this. So just judging by the change in the angle to your wake, I think you want to take off much more upwind. Or I like ordinary things done consistently produce extraordinary results. Yeah, I like that. So you want to go more upwind, similarly, from what I can see from the wake. So take off more upwind. And then it looks like you're getting that head around. You're trying to spot your landing. I want to see even more, like here you're looking where the nose is hitting the water. I want to see you really looking more with that head and really opening up even the shoulder so your chest is back. And it's something we've talked about before on the stream. This is something that really helped Marine, and I think it's a great tip, is to really think about going up with your hands sort of in front of your nipples, in front of your chest. And then when you're coming down, you're moving your hands forward in this like windshield wiper motion. So where you're bringing your hands sort of laterally across your body like this, and so you're sheeting in on the way down and pushing the front arm forward, pushing the whole sail forward, and that helps complete the rotation, and it helps make the sail more neutral. It does lots of good things when you're coming down. So taking off more upwind, moving the sail like that, and opening your head more would be the three main things I would say for this. And it's hard to see more from this. Like, I can't really tell how much height you're getting. But those three things would make a big difference. Cool. All right, yeah, Mario, how was the session? Let me see if I can see how it looks. Looks light. Olaf. Oh, I'm so sorry, Olaf. This is such a sad story. Olaf ruptured his Achilles tendon doing a carving 360. And some pretty interesting comments in here. A lot of inspiring ones about people coming back from injuries, working with doctors or physios. We've got some great doctors and physios in the group. I'd like to give a shout out to everyone that has answered in here. Jeff Albright is a great doctor. It's worth reaching out to him, see what his advice is. Daniel also is a physio. He might have some good advice as well. Yeah, so Olaf, I recommend you reach out to Jeff. And something that this has really made me realize from these comments is just how important preventative physical therapy is. And I realized that when I injured my knee a year and a half ago, and I've incorporated a lot of regular physio into my life, not just doing the exercises, but also seeing a physio pretty regularly. So I haven't seen one since the spring, but when I go back to Maui, I'll meet with the woman that helped me with my rehab for my knee, and she gives me other exercises and stretches and advice for what to do for other parts of my body as well. And I think that preventative physio really goes a long way, and that's maybe my number one tip for everyone, myself included. Because if your body's not working, you can't windsurf. So you got to make sure your body's working and injury free. And as we get older, our tendons are less flexible. I mean, that's the comment right here, right? It's important to stretch the calves after you turn 40, 50. And one of the things I'd say is that as we get older, it's really important to be taking care of our bodies and go to a professional, right? When we're younger, it doesn't matter as much, but as we get older, our proneness to injury really increases. So seeing a regular physio, working on the areas that you need help working on, stretching or strengthening, goes a long way to preventing injuries in the future and prolonging your, the amount of time that you can get on the water. All right, moving on. Rory posted this clip of himself doing this little tail drop floater foam climb thing. These are cool. Here's one of Philip. You see these, they're not that common, but you definitely see them, and they're very fun to do. I think floaters are really fun to do as well. So I recommend everyone to play with doing floaters. They're fun to do. They're easier to do surfing or windsurfing than they are surfing, because we have the sail to help keep us up. Let's see if I can pull up this video. So around 1:33. Let's see if this works. This is from Coster. Let's turn the sound off. Oh. All right. Yeah, it's just super fun doing floaters like this. And it helps with your repertoire, what you can throw into a wave ride. So for example here, Philip is behind this section right? And so instead of wasting this wave, this face of the wave getting speed, he pops on top of it, does a little floater. It's not as impressive as it would be surfing because we have the sail to help, but it still looks cool and it's fun, it's different, and it sets him up to do this nice turn in the pocket of the wave. So it's definitely a move that's worth having in your repertoire. I wonder if we see another one coming up. I like that bottom turn. There's a little section for a floater. So he could have done a floater there instead of just racing below the section. Oh. He's doing lots of floaters. Boom. That was a nice little combo, for sure. Ouch. Boom. Oh, broke his gear. Yeah, looked like he was going to break his gear on that section. Anyway, so Rory, floaters are cool. Keep doing them. And keep dropping the tail down, because that is, I think, the coolest way to do the floaters. I know I have video of me doing them somewhere, but I couldn't find it. Alright, I'm going to close. I have to close that. Alright, moving on. This is an old question. Yeah, mineral sunscreens is the answer to what sunscreens I like. They don't go into blood circulation. They block UV. Good answer. Lots of good answers here. But yeah, I definitely agree with these two. Alright, Albert. Albert, this is from last week. And so you answered us and said that you're doing rotation, mostly landing on my back, and sometimes can water start in the straps. Alright, so you've already gone through the hardest part of forwards, which is doing that first rotation in the straps. So congratulations, good job. You're very far on the path. The last part is just the fine tuning. And I recommend watching the video that I did about the three, I don't remember what I called it, the 3 big mistakes or something that people do in their forward loops. One big misconception is treating it like a somersault. The forward loop is not a somersault, it's more like a twist, as we already talked about here. And so you're not somersaulting forward, so you're twisting, spinning downwind. And so that instead of like this, you're going like this, right? And so you want to make sure you're looking in the direction that you're twisting, which is back, and really getting that twist with your torso and your body so that you're pulling back with this shoulder rather than pushing it forward into a somersault. You're really pulling back, sheeting in the sail hard, pushing the sail forward with that front hand like you're twisting, right? I've got a video about this, but that is really the biggest thing. So what you need to do is make sure you've got a wide grip. Make sure that you're twisting and looking in the direction of that spin, which is back, downwind, back behind your shoulder. And then also make sure you're taking off downwind enough. Those 3 things will get you landing on your board. There's a video that I did about that on my YouTube channel. I'll try and find it and post it, but I think it's easy to find as well on my YouTube. All right, Mark asks, who has been affected by equipment shortages due to COVID? Lots of people are affected. It's really difficult. I know with the sales, we're trying so hard to get sales out to the world, and there's so many challenges in the way with shipping, with material that's delayed because of some COVID issue, with COVID lockdowns where our factory is located, so we can't make sales. And we're trying the best we can, trying to make sure that our workers are happy and healthy, and they're not too scared of COVID and everything that's happening, and trying to make sales, but it's definitely slower than it would normally be. And I think that's true across our industry and many other industries as well. All right, so it's a struggle to get new gear at the moment, or any gear at the moment. So my recommendation is just have patience and compassion for the people making the gear, because they're also frustrated with the delays and dealing with different fears of getting sick or whatnot. All right, Rich shares this back loop story. So there's a couple attempts in here, bails, and then there's a solid landing of one coming up. That one's pretty close. That one, the takeoff was just a little bit too downwind, I think. Nice. Is that the same one? Really, really nice. Really, really nice. Solid landing. Good job. Here's another one, which is saying on the 5.3, it feels like in slow motion compared to the smaller sail. Definitely true. If you go on a bigger sail, everything feels slower. And on a smaller sail, everything rotates faster. We got some cool footage from Mika. Nice to see. All right, I think that is it. So that covers all of our topics. Do you guys have any questions? So again, we're doing this competition. You have to say what you think this move is and whether I landed it. We're gonna do the drawing for the correct answers next Sunday. The winner wins a Ezzy bag. Yeah, Rich, cool. I'm stoked to hear that. The thing with learning is that it is, it's not always instant. And so with the masterclasses, for example, what I say is that we're planting seeds, and you might see those seeds climax in 6 months. You might see them bloom in 6 months. H, good to see you. How are you doing? We're just kind of wrapping up. We finished all of the questions in the group. And so if you've got any questions or anyone else has any questions, we can answer them. We're doing a little competition about what move this is and whether I landed it. And the winner, the correct answers go into a drawing, and then the winner's randomly selected and they win a bag. We were just talking about that. We answered all the questions from the group. So I throw it back to the chat. H, have you been sailing? Have you been getting on the water? And yeah, I want to hear if you guys have any more questions. Can hang out a little bit more. Let's see if I've got some footage I can share in the meantime. Rich is saying it was very good to feel the difference in the small and big gear. Yeah, cool. All right, here's some clips from me from Tenerife. I was trying to film with my helmet. Yeah, where are you sailing? Where are you sailing, H? Small waves in Tenerife. I don't have a ton of footage. Our filmer Benji was really focusing on the other sailors like Pascal in this clip, which is what he was hired to do. You've reached a level of pure happiness on the water. Oh, I'm stoked to hear that. That sounds great. where are you sailing? Tell us more. I love hearing that. Pure happiness. Here quickly is an example of just a little high five, just throwing my board into this pocket here. These little sections, these little corner sections on the whitewater, you can just throw your board into them to pick up speed. It's so easy, but you pick up so much speed. Little jibe. Let's see what else we have in here. Oh, I like this. Fritz kind of gets in the way. It's okay. It's about the students, not about me. But I was quite happy actually with this backside turn. As I do this, there's a little section, get a backside carve with a little bit of extension and a little bit of slide at the end. I don't like too much slide in these. I like keeping the rail engaged, but getting extended out with the back leg. So I was pretty happy with this little backside turn. And the wave kind of disappears. Yeah, a lot of Ezzy gear on the beach. That's good to hear. I've got to come sail in France. Visson is on my list. I've never sailed there, actually. I've sailed in France a bunch, but never in Visson. Cool, man. Yeah, H, right on. Get some footage. Get some footage for us. I know you're not on Facebook anymore, but you can always send it to me. You can send it to me, and then I can go through it on the stream. Trying to see if I've got more clips in here, if any of them are interesting for the coaching. The waves are pretty small these days. This is all at the harbor wall. Tenerife, there's Ragnar killing it. Oh yeah, so this was one exercise that I recommended for the group and I recommend for everyone, which is just to open the clue, face your body towards the wave, and just travel down the line. Sorry, this is for onshore spots. And just travel on the down the line with the sail open, bend your knees, stand up tall, bend your knees, and just see what that feels like. And so you can see here, I'm just going down, bend the knees, stand up, and it's just an exercise just to feel the wave, feel the board, feel your equipment, feel what happens when you bend low, what happens when you position your board in different ways. You just want to make sure you're staying on the wave face to pick up speed. Yeah, Mika, I'm going to Fehmarn for the surf festival. So I think I'm there for the Friday and Saturday of the surf festival. So check the dates for that. I think it is, here, I can look it up on my phone. I think it is the 17th and 18th, but I'm not really sure. All right, we got a question. Samuli, how do you handle being overpowered in the bottom turn? Clue first in onshore. Yeah, Greg, we need some footage. Is there someone on the beach that can film you? There must be a local filmer or photographer. I'd love to see some footage. Similarly, all right, how to deal with an overpowered bottom turn in onshore. Bending the knees really helps. So like I said, get low before you go. So when your knees are bent, you have so much more control and power. A lot of the times when your legs are straight, that's when you're getting pulled over by the sail with too much power, but having the knees bent really helps. The more you're carving and generating speed that way, also, then the more speed you have relative to the pull of the sail, it makes it feel less. Yeah, really getting low helps a lot. But we can work on this. We can work on this in Denmark. There's a few other things we can do, and it helps if I can see what you're doing, because there's some different ways that you can get overpowered when it's onshore. And also when it's onshore and really windy, just recognize that even the best in the world sometimes get overpowered and lose the sail in the bottom turn. But generally, if you're keeping, you want to keep more of a constant arc. You want to keep your, so the radius of your arc is more constant. You want to make sure you're really bending the knees. Bending the knees helps so much. Mario suggests letting go of the backhand of the top turn. What you can do is also a great exercise. Yeah, exactly. Similarly, it's when it's a long way to the lip. So you want to make it a shorter way to the lip. A lot of times when you're really traveling far, going clue first, that's when you sort of stand up and the board comes off the rail and it goes flat, and then you lose a lot of control. So you want to stay on the rail, you want to keep your knees bent, and that gives you control. And so you want to think about really doing arcs. So you're doing your bottom turn, then hitting the top of the wave, coming down. Going really straight, really far is more difficult, and we want to avoid that. We want to avoid that scenario. It's also a lot harder to do a cutback when you're doing that really long onshore clue first bottom turn and the board goes flat. You want to stay on the rail. But we'll work on it in Denmark. All right, guys, last call for questions, and then I'm going to call it a night. It was great to be back on the stream properly. I love hanging out with you guys on Sundays. And if you have any questions, post them in the chat or in the group. There's a few things coming up. So we've got this competition going on. The higher you go, well, you don't want to go like crazy high because it gets scary, but generally the higher you go, the easier it is for doubles. The biggest mistake in the beginning is going too low because it's less scary, but then you don't have enough room to rotate. How are your forwards? Can you really comfortably do planing forwards? Okay, it sounds like you can. You answered my question before I asked it. Yeah, so you want to make sure, I think you want to get at least 3 meters of height, 3-4 meters of height. The higher you're going, the more space you have, and actually the easier it is. The biggest mistake when people are learning doubles is going too low because it's not scary, whereas it's scary to go higher, but actually you need that height. And then you just really want to make sure that you're keeping that horizontal rotation, so keeping the wide grip, looking back the whole time, especially in the second rotation, really pushing, twisting, pushing everything horizontally like a helicopter. So you're always going horizontal, you're not going vertical, because the tendency is to go more vertical in that second rotation. But you want to make sure that you're getting some height. And that X, where you make a big X and then you get really small, so you go tall to small, make a big X, X to a ball, make an X to a ball, tall to small, X to the ball. So for me, it really helps to think of being an X. So I'm throwing my arms up and my legs down, and I'm making this big X with my body, and then coming in to a ball. And of course, that front arm is also being pushed out. You're not just crunching in like this, but bringing your legs up, bringing that backhand in, really twisting, really getting small. That will help. Yeah, a helmet can help. There's a point with the doubles where then you get an awareness and they're not so scary anymore. I'll try and find, I don't have so many doubles on video or picture. My best ones definitely have not been captured. I wonder if I know I have some on my computer. I should have something. So this is a photo sequence. So here, this is kind of old too. I'm not sure how this one was. All right, Greg, good to see you. So here you can see doing the X, getting small, pushing forward, looking back. And this is like, I would say the lowest really the lowest you want to do them. And so I don't know what that is, 4 meters. And then I'm still looking back, still pulling in. But you can see my rotation here has gone, like the second rotation is really not as pretty as the first one. And that's one of the big differences between someone like Brazinho and Costa and the rest of us, where their second rotation is really almost identical to the first one, where you can see I start going a little bit more cheese rolly, a little bit more off center with the first rotation. So here, I'll go through the whole thing kind of fast. You can see it. I mean, I landed this one, but it's not as pretty as the ones that Brazinho or Costa do. So you can see, I'm coming around still with some height, and you want that. You don't want to be too low. So you could go a little bit lower than this, right? Because if you're coming around here, you still land it if you hit the water at that point. Anyway, take care, everyone, and I'm going to sign off. Have a windy week. Post your photos, videos, questions in the group. Join us next weekend, Sunday, for more live coaching and for the results from the competition. See who won. I'll release the full sequence. All right, guys, I enjoyed this. I'll see you all in the Facebook group this week. Take care. Have fun. Have a windy week. All right, signing off, everyone.